Welcome to my channel, USA Battle Zone. Today, I'm about to tell you a story that will make your heart pound and your soul tremble. A story about courage, pain, and an unforgettable mistake, the kind that changes everything. So sit back, and listen carefully. Because this one's going to hit deep. Scene 1. The bar, late night. Rain taps against the window. A neon sign flickers outside. Inside, a dimly lit bar hums with laughter and clinking glasses. Her name was Kara Mills. To most people, she looked like any other woman in her early 30s, athletic, calm, maybe even quiet. But behind those steady blue eyes hid a secret, one that could shatter bones and silence chaos. She was a Navy SEAL, one of the first women to ever complete the brutal SEAL training. But tonight wasn't about missions or medals. Tonight, Kara just wanted peace. She'd returned home after 2 tours, years filled with fire, sand, and ghosts that still haunted her dreams. So she sat alone at the corner of that bar, her fingers wrapped around a glass of water, staring at her reflection in the mirror behind the bottles. Scene 2. The trouble begins. 3 men stumbled in, drunk, loud, the kind who thought the world was their playground. One of them, a tall guy with a military haircut, noticed her right away. "Hey, sweetheart," he slurred, walking over. "You look like you could use a drink." Kara didn't even look up. "I'm good, thanks." But that wasn't enough for him. He smirked, leaned closer. "You sure? Come on, don't be shy. You Army or something? You got that tough look." Kara stayed calm, just trying to be left alone. That should have ended it, but ego rarely listens to reason. The guy laughed, waved to his friends. "Yo, she's one of those tough girls. Probably watches too many action movies." They surrounded her. The bartender started to move, but Kara gave a small shake of her head. She didn't want a scene. Then it happened. The mistake. One of the men, trying to impress his friends, reached for her shoulder. Kara pulled back. He laughed and moved closer. She stood up, calm, controlled. "Back off," she said quietly. But he didn't. Instead, he sneered, and as she turned to leave, his elbow shot out. It connected. Hard, right into her face. The whole bar went silent. Scene 3. The switch flips. Kara's head snapped to the side. Blood trickled from her lip. For a moment, she didn't move. Then she took a slow breath, the kind soldiers take before a storm. And when she looked back at them, her eyes had changed. The laughter died in their throats. Something cold and terrifying filled the air. Her voice was low. "You shouldn't have done that." What happened next happened so fast that no one could process it. The first man swung again. Kara stepped aside, smooth, precise, and used his own momentum to slam his arm against the bar. A crack echoed. He screamed. The second man charged. She pivoted, elbowed him in the ribs, grabbed his collar, and flipped him onto a table that shattered beneath him. The third man froze, eyes wide, mouth open. She didn't touch him. She just stared, and he backed away. The entire bar was dead silent. Scene 4. The aftermath. The bartender whispered, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Kara nodded, wiping the blood from her lip. "I'm fine." She glanced at the man clutching his broken arm, moaning on the floor. "Call an ambulance," she said softly. "And tell them not to press charges. They've learned enough tonight." Then she walked out, into the cold rain, disappearing into the darkness. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. Scene 5. The regret. 2 weeks later, one of those men, the one who had elbowed her, found himself sitting in a hospital waiting room. His arms still wrapped in a cast. He hadn't been able to sleep since that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face, calm, unshaken, merciful. His brother, who'd been in the bar too, said he looked like he'd seen a ghost. He finally decided to look her up. The bartender had told him her name, Kara Mills. So he searched, and what he found broke him. There she was, Navy SEAL Team 6. Decorated, honored, a hero. She'd saved soldiers in Afghanistan, rescued hostages in Somalia, and nearly died pulling a wounded comrade out of an ambush. He sat there staring at her photo, tears in his eyes. He'd hit her, a woman who had risked her life so people like him could live free. He couldn't believe it. He'd spent years talking tough, pretending to be a man of pride and strength, but the real strength had been sitting quietly in that bar, asking for peace. Scene 6: The Apology. Weeks later, he found out where she volunteered, a local veterans rehab center. He didn't expect her to remember him. But he went anyway. When he walked in, Kara was helping a young amputee practice walking again. She looked up, saw him, and for a second, her eyes hardened, then softened. He swallowed hard. I don't know if you remember me. She nodded. I do. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't know who you were. I was drunk. Stupid. She interrupted gently. You don't have to know who someone is to respect them. He froze. Her words hit deeper than any punch. I know, he whispered. And I'll never forget that. Kara smiled faintly. Good. Then maybe some good came out of it. She turned back to her patient, leaving him standing there, a man completely changed. Scene 7: The Reflection. That night, he went home and sat by the window for hours. Rain again. The same kind as that night. He thought about how easily anger and pride can destroy a moment, how one elbow, 1 second of ego, almost defined his life. But she'd spared him. She could have broken him, physically, legally, emotionally, but she hadn't. Because that's what strength really is. Not how hard you hit, but how much control you have when you could destroy someone. Scene 8: Kara's past. Meanwhile, Kara sat alone in her apartment. The small TV flickered softly. On the wall behind her, photos of her SEAL team. Some faces were gone now. Lost in combat. She touched one of the frames, her fingers trembling slightly. She whispered, I miss you, guys. The truth was, she didn't go to that bar to drink. She went because she couldn't stand the silence of home anymore. The silence where gunfire used to be, where commands used to echo, where brothers used to laugh. Every night, she fought a different kind of battle, the one inside her head. The elbow, the bar fight, they weren't the real war. They were just reminders that people have no idea what soldiers carry when they come back home. She'd been trained to take down enemies. But no one trained her to live with ghosts. Scene 9: The Moment of Peace. Weeks later, Kara received a letter. It was from him, the man from the bar. He wrote, Greater than, I joined a veterans volunteer group. I'm helping out at the center where you work. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but you gave me something better, a lesson. You showed me what real strength looks like. Thank you for not breaking me when you had every reason to. She smiled as she folded the letter. Maybe, just maybe, helping others heal could help her heal too. Scene 10: The Message. Months passed. The bar incident became a rumor, a story people told in whispers. But no one knew the truth. Not about the elbow, not about the SEAL, not about the quiet redemption that followed. Kara never spoke of it again. But those who met her, who saw the calm power in her eyes, always felt something shift inside them. She became a silent mentor to others. Not by preaching, by example, because sometimes, the strongest warriors aren't the ones who fight the loudest battles. They're the ones who carry the pain, forgive the world, and still keep walking. Scene 11: The Closing Monologue. Camera pans to a quiet pier at sunset. Kara stands alone, watching the waves crash gently against the shore. The sky burns orange and gold. Narrator: soft, emotional tone. They elbowed her in the face, and thought it was just another bar fight. But what they didn't know was that behind that calm stare stood a warrior who had faced death and come back stronger. They thought they broke her. But she was unbreakable, because true strength isn't about hurting others, it's about protecting even those who don't deserve it. And in the end, that's exactly what she did. She didn't ruin their lives, she changed them. She turned violence into mercy. And mercy, into legacy. Outro. Cinematic fade out. Slow piano music plays. The screen fades to black with the sound of ocean waves. Narrator: whisper tone. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that heroes walk among us every day, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of courage and redemption. This is USA Battle Zone. And remember, the greatest battles are often fought within.